Hola and feliz lunes, scientists. How was your weekend? That sounds wonderful. Mine was great too. Actually, yesterday was my favorite part of the weekend. I woke up in the best way possible. I was sound asleep when all of a sudden, I could smell the most delicious smell in the world. It was a little sweet, salty, and smoky. I could hear sizzles and pops coming from the kitchen. I hadn't even opened my eyes yet, but I was starting to guess what it could be. Maybe some ham for a breakfast sandwich, maybe some sausages to eat with eggs, or maybe some bacon. I had to know. I opened my eyes and I went into the kitchen to find out what food was being made. Scientists, I was so curious to know. Well, I looked into the pan and saw something that looked like either bacon or ham. I wasn't sure. It was hard to tell. The meat was a little pink, still raw, and was glistening from the oil. I knew that I would only know when I finally got to try it. When the meat was done cooking, all the pieces were laid out on paper towels to let the oil come off. After I put some slices on my plate. Some parts of the meat felt a little stiff and others were really tender and soft. Once I got to try the food, I knew it was bacon. It was salty, sweet, crunchy, tender, and a little oily. I should have known all along. My senses gave me plenty of clues. You all remember the 5 senses, right? We learned about them a while back on the show. Buenísimo. Some of you do remember. It's okay if you don't, or if you're just learning about them for the first time. We're going to talk about them this week. But why would I talk about the 5 senses while we're learning about science and scientists? Well, some of our answers from last week's question can help us answer that. Last week, when we learned about scientists and who can be one, we also learned that scientists make observations. Our 5 senses are the perfect scientific tools for making these observations. What's great about these tools is that we always have them with us. I actually made us a chart showing our 5 senses and which part of our bodies we use to access that sense. Let's go ahead and check it out. Let's take a moment to observe the chart, and then we'll read the 5 senses together. All right, bueno, let's read the 5 senses together. I like to start things from the top, so let's do that. This word here says sight. Can you repeat that word? Sight? Buenísimo. What parts of our body do we use when we're using our sense of sight? Muy bien. We use our eyes. And as I'm sure you've all seen by now, I wear glasses. My glasses help me with my sense of sight, but not everybody needs glasses to use this sense. Let's see what's next. This says smell. Let's say that again. Smell. Bravo. When we are using our sense of smell, what part of our body are we using? That's right, our nose is what lets us smell the world around us. My favorite smell is the smell of freshly brewed coffee with cinnamon in the morning. What about you, scientists? Ooh, I wish I could smell all of those things right now. Bueno, continuamos. This sense is the sense of sound. Can I hear everybody say that again? Sound. That sounded great. When we hear sounds, what part of our body are we using? Or what parts? That's right, we use our ears to hear sounds. Actually, I have some family members whose sense of sound isn't very strong, and they have to use a hearing aid to help them hear more clearly. It's sort of how I need glasses to help me see. Well, great job so far, scientists. We have 2 more senses to get through. Let's see which one is next. It says taste. Can you say that again? Taste? Great job. What do we use to access our sense of taste? I heard a couple of things, but only one is correct. I heard some scientists say that we use our mouths and tongues to taste things. Well, we use our mouth to get the food into our body, and our tongue is actually what we use to taste. This is my favorite sense because this one allows me to enjoy food. But let's go ahead and read our 5th sense. This says touch. Let's repeat that word. Touch. Great. What do we use for our sense of touch? Eso. We use our hands and our fingers to touch and feel things. Did you notice something that makes this sense different from the rest? I'll give you a clue. Think of the body part's location. That's right. Our sense of touch is our only sense that's not located on our heads. I mean, technically, you can use your entire body to touch and feel things because our skin is what feels things, but our hands and fingers are the most sensitive. So we can use our entire body to use the sense of touch, but we can only use our heads to use the other 4 senses. That's very interesting. Well, let's read the 5 senses again. Sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch. That was great. Do you think we can say the 5 senses while pointing to the parts of our body that we need to use them? Awesome. Let's try it out. Sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch. Let's do that one more time. Sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch. Wow, you all got that down quickly. That makes me think that you're ready for my Bacon 5 senses chart. It's a chart that I made based after the story I told you about. Let me show it to you. We can read through it together. So, as you can see, I drew the different body parts that we use for our 5 senses in this column. And here in this column, I wrote the ways that to describe what I observed with the bacon. When I used my sight, I observed that it was brownish red, and it also looked charred or blackened on the edges. It smelled sweet and savory. Oh, rereading this is making me so hungry. But we should finish reading it. When it was cooking, I said I could hear sizzling and popping sounds. Then when I touched it, I said it felt stiff. And then when I finally tasted it, I described it as salty, sweet, crunchy, tender, and oily. I observed a lot of things about the bacon. Maybe we should make our own charts with something we each choose. But I just realized that our time together is almost up. I guess we could just do it tomorrow. I'll be seeing you then anyway. Well, my wonderful scientists, today we learned that scientists, us, use the 5 senses to observe the world around us. Tomorrow, I'm hoping that all of you have found something to observe. I prefer it to be food, but you can choose any object you would like. Scientists, thank you so much for learning with me today. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the show. We have great things planned for all of you. Nos vemos mañana.